So thank you, everybody. This is a great crowd. I'm so happy to see you all. We're so happy that you came today because this is something we wanted to do because the last 2 years have been so hard. They've been hard on us. They've been hard on you. And we wanted to come up with something. You know, we just started talking about this last month. Some tools that we've used between ourselves that we've found helpful. So we wanted to share them with you. And the funny thing is, it's not so funny. Several people had to cancel at the last minute because of something. Who's in the emergency ward with their mom because she needs an MRI, whose kid is sick, and it's just the typical stuff that happens and the stress that we have. Marla lost her internet connection. She lost her heat yesterday. And then
Marla.
Yes. And then she was in the house freezing. I hope you weren't wearing that yesterday, Marla. And the heat's back on, and she lost her internet connection and just got it back. So these are all the things that happen, and they kind of make us a little stressed out. And so we have to breathe, and Marla is going to help us breathe today. And I'm just going to look back and forth because I may have a few people coming in. So thank you. This gives us so much energy and power to be able to do this for you and do it for ourselves, because that's who we're doing it for. In the end, is giving to you helps give to ourselves. My name is Regina.ragone. For those of you who don't know me, I am a culinary dietitian or nutritionist. And what that means is that I try to make healthy food really delicious, because otherwise nobody's going to eat it. And my background is in nutrition. So there's so many new studies that come out all the time about the importance of food in the diet. But more importantly is how we eat this food. We have to eat it. Otherwise, if you don't eat it, if it doesn't taste good, it's not going to do any good. So that's what I have focused my whole career on. Marla, who is also a food and nutrition expert for years. She was actually food editor of Parents for many years. That's how I met her. And she segued into body work, and she's been a massage therapist for 25 years, and she has been playing around with breath work, and really the past year, she's going to tell you a little bit more, has really saw the impact of breath work on her life and those around her. And she's helped Peggy and I a bit, and I have been doing some breath work too, and it really does help a lot. It changes everything. So we're going to share a little of that. And Peggy Rakas is going to lead us in a, what do you call it again? A loving kindness meditation? Yes. So I got a little distracted because I have a wonderful assistant who's saying to put the questions in the chat. So if you have questions, can you put them in the chat until we're done, unless it's really urgent. And then we'll talk afterwards. And for those of you who want the diet that I'm going to talk about the Mind Diet, which is a diet that is supposed to help us with cognition and help us with our memories and hopefully prevent dementia and Alzheimer's. I'm going to go into more details about what that diet is, and I'm going to show you some recipes to do with it. So that information I'll be happy to email to you. My email was on the invitation, regina.ragone@gmail.com. So you don't have to worry about it. You can just sit back and relax. We want you to relax. If you want to drink, I'm going to drink this wine. It's on the Mind Diet afterwards. I can't drink it until we're done here. But we just want you to relax and have a good time, and we just want to be together. So without further ado, I am going to introduce Peggy, who's going to make us all loving and kind. So I look forward to that.
All right. And I am so grateful that all of you are taking this hour, going on this little retreat with us today. And I'm humbled to have you in the audience. Thank you so much for coming. So just a little bit about myself. I am a music teacher. I am a flutist. And late in my career, I really got attracted to positive psychology. Initially, to help myself. I was struggling with depression. I just had some emotions I needed to handle. And positive psychology provided tools that helped me get better. And positive psychology focuses on what makes us flourish. It focuses on the lens through which we look at our lives so that we live a happier life. One of the quotes that I love about positive psychology goes like this: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And the first time I heard that was Wayne Dyer, who's a spiritual, a motivational speaker and author. But he actually got that from a German physicist who said it in 1914. And he was talking about physics. If you change the way you look at matter, your matter actually changes. So if you have a rock in front of you and you say to yourself, this is one really solid rock, and then you learn about atoms and you learn that atoms are just a whole bunch of air, and now you learn that your rock is made out of atoms. You look at your rock and you're going, wait a minute, it's not a big solid rock. It's completely full of air. So, how the lens through which you looked at it completely changed it. Wayne Dyer was talking about it in the way we look at our lives, and how if we can look at our lives through a lens of loving kindness, our world is just going to be happier around us. And Einstein even weighs in on this a little bit, and he says, do you live in a friendly world or a hostile world? Just the way we look at it. So, some of the tools that positive psychology gives us, there's many of them. Eating right is one of them. Breathing is one of them. Breathing exercises. Movement is one of them. Meditation is one. And one of the most researched meditations is the loving kindness meditation. Originally a Buddhist meditation, it's been around um, millions of, not millions of years, probably 2,000 years or so. And it's present in almost every single spiritual tradition. They have some version of this. And there was research done on this particular meditation showing that people who did this meditation for 7 weeks were, on average, 25% happier at the end of the study by just doing this meditation 10 minutes a day. And also, studies show that your brain actually changes when you do this meditation. The area of your brain that is in charge of emotional regulation actually is stronger. Your vagal tone, which is a measurement of your ability to be resilient and to handle stress, that improves with this. And it's just amazing. So it's going to make you happier. It's going to change your brain. So not only is this activity going to change the way you look at things and the things you look at change, this particular meditation physically changes you. It physically changes your brain and make you be a little bit happier, more full of love, more full of joy, contentment. So, here is how the meditation works. You start by saying to yourself, may I be safe, may I be healthy, may I be happy, may I live with ease. Yeah, and Sam is reminding people to mute their audio if they can. So you start by blessing yourself, and sometimes we really just need to remember to bless ourselves, take care of the precious body, this precious being that we are. Then you go to someone that you love, like your partner, your spouse, your child, or a pet. Could be really anything you deeply love. May they be safe. May they be healthy. May they be happy. May they live with ease. Then you go to someone that you don't really know very well, but you see every day. I used my mailman. May my mailman be safe. May my mailman, excuse me, may my mailman be healthy. May he be happy. May he live with ease. And then you take it to someone who you have a challenging relationship to. This part can be very difficult for people. If this is really difficult for you, I'm going to have you suggest that you take it to someone that you have just a mildly challenging relationship. But as you do this, you want to extend this to people that you have a really challenging relationship to. And you bless them. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they live with ease. Now, two things about this. The first one is um, just a little personal story. I, like many other people, was having a little trouble with my husband. And my husband knows this, it's no secret. And before I knew about the loving kindness meditation, someone suggested to me that I should just look at him with love. Just love this man. And just another reminder, somebody is probably not on mute. So if you check your mute button. So I just, without knowing about the loving kindness meditation, just decided I was going to look at my husband with love. And if I was going to react to him, I was going to ask myself, well, what would love do in this situation? What would a woman who loved her husband do in this situation? And just that act really helped me. It helped our relationship. And what I was doing without knowing it was I was doing a loving kindness meditation. I was sending him my love. I was sending him the energy from my heart. And then another thing about this meditation is it's not actually going to physically change the people in your world. I have a very sad story to tell you about my mailman. So I blessed my mailman every night for a year. And then one day, my neighbors told me that my mailman died. He was 63 years old. It was completely sudden. Just out of the blue, my mailman dies. And it just was just a little reminder that prayer, Mother Teresa tells us, prayer doesn't change the world outside of us, it changes the world within us. And that's what this prayer does. It's going to change the world within you, and it physically will change your brain. So, we are going to get started here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through this meditation. I'm going to invite you to get as comfortable as you need to get. I'm a big believer that meditation doesn't need to be with a straight back. That all came from a saying of the Buddha, who said, when you meditate, do so with dignity and bring that dignity out into the world. I have to say that that actually stopped me from meditating for a long time, because I was trying to meditate after I taught all day and I was just tired and I wanted to slouch. I just wanted to slouch. So I then went to a meditation teacher named David Wagner, who Mary Beth actually knows about. So I go to a class with him, and David Wagner says, you know, you don't have to sit up straight. You just can't fall asleep. So basically, if you can stay awake and alert during a meditation, you can be lying down, you can be any way you want, as long as you can focus on your mind. So I'm going to invite you to make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can in your chair and gently close your eyes. Feel your breath slow down. Feel the muscles in your forehead and let them relax. Feel the muscles in your cheeks and let them drop down. Put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And feel your breath come into your belly. Feel the beating of your heart. Take your shoulders and pull them back so that your heart can shine. Just gently back. Feel the warmth of that heart energy. And with the energy of your heart, repeat in your mind, may I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I live with ease. Now bring to your mind the image of someone you love. Someone you love deeply. A partner, a child, a mother, a pet. Send them love with your heart and say in your mind, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. Now picture someone in your world. Your mailman, your mail woman. A cashier, a barista. Send them love with your heart. and say in your mind, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. Now picture someone who you do have a challenging relationship with. Send them love. Let your heart shine in their direction. And say to yourself, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. Feel that heart shine under your hand. And bring that love back into your world, into your beautiful body. And say, may I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I live with ease. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Gently blink open your eyes. And come back into the room. And I thank you so much for doing that with me. I invite you to find a time to do this every day, even doing it for 2 minutes. I am sure, although I don't have the research to prove it, I am sure that you are going to be happier. I'm sure there are going to be changes in your brain that are going to make you look at your world through a more positive and loving lens. If you can, attach it to a habit you already have. I attach this to my, when my head hits the pillow at night, I go into this prayer. But if you can attach it to a habit you already have, you will be more likely to do it every day. And I look forward to hearing what my friends Marla and Regina are about to teach you, and I wish you to be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease.
Ah, I do feel better. How many of you lose your keys all the time? I lose my keys all the time, even though I have a key holder, or can't forget the name of somebody or a movie. Show of hands. How many feel like you're losing your mind or feel like maybe I have dementia? I've heard my friends say that so many times. Oh my God, maybe I have dementia. And I know what dementia is because unfortunately my mom had it for many years. And it is the worst disease. It is such a terrible disease that robs everyone of this person you loved. So I'm very interested in whatever can prevent dementia. And I know there is a genetic component there. They talk about people who have a higher rate of depression. So what you do with your mind and good thoughts are very important, in breathing. But there's a lot of research that has gone on the last few years about a special diet that you can have that will help prevent this. And it's called the Mind Diet. It came out about 2015. And it's a combination of 2 diets. And when I say diet, I mean meal programs. You probably will lose weight when you go on this because, as you can see, it's all really healthy food. It's a combination of the Mediterranean diet, which we know is a really great diet that always gets high reviews when they do those diet rankings in US News and World Report, and another diet called the DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approach to Stop Hypertension. It's a really great diet if you have hypertension. And what it is, it's a lot of fruits and vegetables because it raises your potassium levels. And so that helps you with your sodium levels. So this is a combination of the 2. And what's different is not as many vegetables as DASH, and it has some other changes. So I'm going to go through that. But why do we have this issue with degeneration as we get older? Our brains sometimes develop abnormal clumps of these proteins called amyloid plaques and tangles. And when they do autopsies on people who've had dementia, they see these plaques. And unfortunately, the tangles build up between nerve cells and interfere with thinking and problem solving. So they did this diet and they found it really did help prevent forms of dementia. But what's exciting is a new study just came out in 2021 in September that shows that people who stayed on this diet also had better mental abilities and cognition. So this is a good diet for everybody. And they even found when they did, unfortunately, autopsies of people who had died, that even when they had the amyloid plaques in their brains, they still didn't suffer dementia. So what's good about what I'm going to show you is it's all positive things that you can do. I'm going to tell you a few negative things that you have to watch out for, but you'll see what happens with that causes the problems is a lot of oxidative stress on the cells in the body. And oxidation happens when we have pollution or bad foods or stress. And what helps the oxidation is antioxidants because they help prevent that oxidation. That's in a very basic way. But so we're going to go through some of the foods. I think there are about 10 foods that are really key in this diet. Berries. So the Mediterranean diet has lots of fruits, but this is specifically berries, blueberries, strawberries. It's because of the flavonoids and anthocyanins. Of course, they're really great vitamin. They have a lot of vitamin C and fiber. That's all good, but it's these particular phytonutrients that they find in these two items that are really important. And I know right now they're really expensive. I did happen to get the blueberries on sale for $2 today, but frozen is fine. Frozen berries are great. And you really should have them every day. And I think I told you I was going to give you a copy of the diet afterwards if you write me, but they talk about having berries 2 or more times per week. So that's not so bad. Beans. And what's great about beans is they're really high in fiber and they're high in, they all have similar antioxidants. Let's see if I have my exact little cards here because of course I lost the bean one, but it's got some kind of phytonutrient in there that helps. I think it might be magnesium. We have nuts because they're really high in omega-3s and vitamin E. And walnuts are high in omega-3s, and the nuts are really important to have in your diet. We do know that they are caloric. So one of the best things you could do is sprinkle them on food, crumble them up, because if you eat handfuls, they're very addictive. I love nuts, so I can eat all kinds of nuts all the time. So that's something you may want to be careful of calorie-wise. The other good thing about nuts is it's a source of protein. So if you're cutting out other sources of protein like red meat, which we're being told to stay away from, you can have a little bit more of this. Fish, very important, fish. And I have these two because fish is probably the area that I am the weakest in. And it's because I don't make it. I don't know, I get lazy, it's expensive. So I wanted to point out tuna is great. Tuna is a really great source of omega-3s. And this is the fat that actually helps protect the brain. And this is a brand I like, Wild Planet. And there are other brands that are sustainable, low in mercury, if that's something that worries you. And it tastes really good. You can get it on Amazon. I just found this yesterday. I love Trader Joe's. I practically live there, Marla and I. And this is a type of salmon that I just found yesterday. It's already cooked. So I'm going to put like a sauce with yogurt and dill on it and have this tonight. So that what could be easier. Grains, whole grains are really important. Now, people worry about carbohydrates, but when you're talking about whole grains, this is not something to worry about because they're really high in fiber. They have magnesium and they have other vitamins in them. I make a batch. This is barley. I make kamut. I make, I think this might be wheat berries or spelt. I make a batch every week and I just have it in the refrigerator. And that's a key thing to do is to have everything available so that it's easy for you to pull out. Of course, olive oil, rich in a compound that calms inflammatories, COX-2 enzymes. You know, you've heard of COX-2 inhibitors. This actually does it naturally. Greens, this is another area that I find a little bit difficult because I think greens on this diet you're supposed to have one or more times per day, and that's a little tricky for me. And I love greens, it's just to make them. So we're going to talk about easy ways you can make them. We have some escarole here. This is something I grew up with, and that's part of the Mediterranean diet. Is a lot of this stuff is really healthy. What the Mediterraneans eat. My mom always would make escarole and beans, and that combines these two important things. Chicken, because it's a really lean, good source of protein. And then aside from greens, other vegetables, again, because they're high in folate and they have a lot of vitamins and minerals. Oh, and I forgot wine. You can have a little red wine because this is also good for your vascular system, not to overdo it. There's been conflicting studies on wine and women. So, not more than 5 times a week, but a little red wine or even white wine is okay. So I think we have everything here. So what I'm going to do is just a little demo with a green that you've probably heard throughout your life about, but I never really ate it because I always heard of collards being something that you would have with ham hocks and had to be cooked a long time. Well, lo and behold, I found out, actually, Mary Ellen, I think Melissa taught me this, that you could eat collards and they don't need that much cooking. And a lot of chefs know this. This is a collard that it's actually, I blanched it. And I'm going to show you how to blanch it. And we're going to use this as a wrap. What's great nowadays, all these vegetable type wraps out there. I bought really delicious cauliflower pizza from Trader Joe's yesterday. Couldn't believe it. It was a fresh cauliflower pizza. But people are using all kinds of vegetables for wraps. And it's okay to have some whole grain bread, but this is a really easy way to get some greens into your diet. And you can see, I'm going to make it in front of you, but it's really easy to eat and it's delicious. I was really surprised how delicious it was because I love bread and it's very hard for me to give up my bread. But I'm going to show you a quick video because it's going to be hard for me to show you how to blanch by sharing my screen. So what she's doing is she's laying out this collard and pressing it down, trimming it, just trimming it along the side there. Get the little veins out. She has nicer hands than I do. So, and then you just blanch it for literally 30 seconds. You put it in a pot, a big pot like that, of boiling water, put it in and out, you pull it out. You can just crush that down a little bit just to make it flatter. It's not the end of the world. And I will give you this recipe if it looks, and I let these dry all afternoon. And then I have these veggies. About the hummus I made. Oh, I didn't even realize all this was on here. I was going to do all this, but she's doing it all for me. Just you wrap it like a sushi roll. And I actually put some cilantro on mine, fold in the edges. It's like a burrito. So isn't that cool? Sorry for all those technical difficulties.
Oh, please.
But, so yeah, been there, done that. But I thought this was so cool because again, I could eat a sandwich every day. I love sandwiches. There's nothing wrong with sandwiches, but so you have this wrap. Like you flatten it, you trim it, you put down the you press it down a little bit, and then I made this really great hummus with white beans. It has spinach in there, so you're getting even more nutrients with the spinach. Tahini. I put a little cumin in. I put a little olive oil in, garlic. Put that down. You add your vegetables as you saw on the screen, and you have a really cool wrap. And we ate these. Marla and I did a little rehearsal. We had a problem with the video in the rehearsal last week, and we ate so many of them afterwards. I have to tell you, don't go crazy eating too many because they're still high in fiber. And I eat a lot of fiber. So anyway, and
hey, I think Andrea wants to know if you can use Swiss chard.
I think you can. I was looking at the Swiss chard today, and I think it's cool to use Swiss chard. Yeah, and that's actually probably a little softer because the collards.
You still have to blanch it though.
Yeah, you do still have to blanch it, and blanching is so easy. It's such an easy thing to do. And then I showed you escarole earlier. So what I did, you just clean it. Escarole can be really dirty. Chop it, saute garlic and olive oil, put this in, saute it for a few minutes, and then you add your white beans, and that is an incredibly delicious meal, escarole and beans. Grew up with it. Even as a kid, I loved it. I didn't know, oh, bad vegetables. Then the other thing we have is everyone's heard so much about kale, kale, kale. Remember how much everything was kale? Well, there's still a lot of kale out there, and probably a lot of you know how to trim kale. If you don't, you're just going to pull it off this stem. And that's with any green that has like a thick center like this, because you don't want that. And chop it. And then Marla says, you have to show them how to massage the kale. So massaging kale, I know she's a massage therapist, so she's of course going to be into massaging kale. But it's basically, Marla, you said you don't do this with any oil, right?
I don't use oil. You can definitely put a little drizzle in there, but if you're
Mary Ellen, can I ask you, what do you do?
With kale?
Yeah, do you not do that?
I usually get the baby kale.
Ah, very smart. Okay.
I'm not crazy about that because unless it's really cooked up, but I prefer the baby kale.
So the reason I asked Mary Ellen is I was a food editor at Family Circle, and her lovely daughter, who's an incredible chef, taught me so many new techniques. And I think she's the one that told me about massaging kale. Like she told me about collards, and I didn't believe her. I thought she was making it up. And who did she learn her cooking skills from? Culinary school, but also her mom. Her mom's a phenomenal cook. So, and she's here, but that's why I thought I would ask her too.
Thank you.
Just keep massaging it, and it does get softer.
It does get, okay, that's a good, Melissa never told me that one.
Yeah, she saves her special secrets for her boss. So anyway, so what I will do with that afterwards is I will dress it, and I have a recipe for a dressing, and it has tahini again, some miso, some olive oil, lemon juice, and so it'll give it like a little bit of an Asian flair. And then I found out how to make chickpeas, roasted chickpeas. And there are a lot of recipes out there for roasting chickpeas, but I did find one on Cooks Illustrated that was the right way. And they actually cook them this is canned chickpeas. They cook them in the microwave for 10 minutes first, and that really dries them out. And then you put them in the oven with some olive oil, cook them for like a half hour, and then you add this spice mixture. And there's a couple of different recipes for spice mixture. And I'm going to show you, the reason I did that is because I love these crunchy chickpeas. I put these in my salad. This is a great also alternative to croutons. And I said, okay, I love these so much. I have to learn how to make them because they're like $5 a bag. So two cans of chickpeas and some spices, you're way ahead of the game, and they're really good. So this is very easy if anybody wants this recipe. So what I will do is I'll make this salad. I'll put this chickpeas in, and we'll probably eat all this tonight with wine and a Beano, because this is a lot of fiber. My poor partner eats so much fiber. God bless him. So anyway, I think that is all I have to show you today. This is just greens. We can do other recipes at other times, but I find greens are the hardest thing to get in. And I think if you kind of make a plan with greens, if you have a recipe ahead of time, it helps a little bit so that you'll eat them. What else did I want to tell you? I wanted how many times a week do you eat beans? A couple of times. So because I think I'm having dementia, I've already lost the diet. But the diet tells you how many times a week, and it's not a strict diet. And that's what's great about this program, is that you don't have to stick to it so strictly. But the things that you really need to watch for are things that we love. Of course, cheese. So you should only have it like one time a week. That's really hard to do. Cheese, red meat, any kinds of butter, trans fats, and of course, sweets and desserts. Those are the 5 things that you have to kind of keep on the, low side, which is why you need these other things, because you need to fill up your plate with other things. And really, when you eat a lot of this stuff, you feel full and very satisfied. So you don't need to cut down as much. And I also think, make your own salad dressing if you can. I'm sure a lot of you do, because then it's olive oil, and the olive oil is what is really good for you. So I think that's it for now. Thank you for your patience. And we're going to turn it over to Marla before we eat all this bloating food to do some breath work.
Right. Hello, everyone.
Marla, you didn't even say anything. There were no interruptions. What happened?
You were doing such a good job. So
Marla and I, we go back a long time. She and I love this place up in the Berkshires called Krapala. And we can't even believe how much fiber is in the meals up there. They have such delicious stuff. But what would you say we ingest when we go there, Marla? Like 100 grams of fiber.
oh, it's all so delicious, though.
It is. It's so delicious, and it proves. Actually, they have a Culinary Institute of America chef there, all healthy cooking, and that's also a great cookbook, the Krapala cookbook. So it goes to show you can have a lot of delicious stuff. And like why my partner likes to go there is because they have quiet breakfast, so you can't talk. So I'll be quiet now.
Thank you, Regina.
You're welcome.
So, hey, everyone. I'm Marla. For those of you who don't know me, but I think I know a lot of you. So welcome. And since we've been sitting for a while, I thought we would move a little, to get the energy going. So how about some like big arm circles? You just want to get the energy flowing a little bit. And feel free to stand up if you want, if you're sitting in a chair. And then we can go the other way. That always feels so good to me, to get the blood and oxygen flowing through your shoulders and into your neck, which usually needs a little bit of tender loving care. And then if you want maybe some twists, twist around a little bit. You're making soft fists here, and you're letting the fists kind of stimulate your kidney points, which are located in the back there. All right. Maybe a little hand rubbing. All right. That feels a little bit better to me. All right, so I wanted to tell everybody why breath work has been very important to me, and what it can do for you, and what it has done for me in the past year, or really past couple of years. So I've had a yoga practice for about 15 years. And during the pandemic, my very wonderful yoga teacher went online. So I was doing yoga and breath work with her and, a group of people for over a year, every single day. And she had a couple of classes a day. So it was really a deep dive, and the breath work was really impactful in my life. And I think the best thing about the breath work is that it helps you get very present with yourself. It kind of takes you out of your head and your thoughts and brings you into the present moment. You become that observer aspect of yourself, and you're able to step away from your story and all the things that are happening in your life for a few minutes, and it's a very peaceful place to be. So I use this a lot when this week, right? All that stuff happened. It was crazy. Like within 2 days, my heat went, my power went, my cable went, everything was like, and plus a lot of other stuff too. It was just like, everything was going awry. I think it was the full moon really. And so, when it got to me, I used this breath. You just turn to it for a few minutes, and it kind of helps you take an eagle's view of things. You can stand back and gain some perspective on things that are happening. You know, all in all, I was still okay, and you know, life was going to go on. So, and tomorrow's another day. And all my problems are fixed now. So there you go. It's all good. So what I want to show you today is something called a deep belly breathing. It's called complete yogi breath. And so I'll talk you through it a little bit, and then I'll set a timer for like 2 minutes, and we can all practice together a little bit. But let me tell you some benefits, some other benefits of this. You can, and there have been clinical studies done with box breath, which is basically four inhales, you know, a beat of 4, inhale, hold for 4, exhale for 4. So it's a kind of a very calming breath, and they have showed that it is, you know, extremely useful for depression and anxiety. You can use that breath to help improve your mood. A deep belly breath is going to help oxygenate your entire body. You know, so now you've got oxygenated blood pumping throughout your entire system, all of your organs, and oxygenated system, just everything works more efficiently when you have enough oxygen going around your body. Let me see what else. Also, it is good for boosting the immune system. The immune system, most of it lives in our gut, and this kind of breathing is stimulating for your intestines and also your immune system. So let me tell you about it a little bit. It's going to be something that you're probably not that familiar with unless you have a breathing practice. I know it was very unfamiliar to me when I first started doing it. And what it is instead of breathing shallow into our chest, we're going to be breathing all the way down into our belly. And what happens is your diaphragm, which sits here, it's the largest muscle in our body. And when you breathe like this, the diaphragm flexes down, and it naturally is going to push the abdomen out. So you'll see your abdomen expand when you're doing it correctly. And then from the bottom of you know, from the abdomen, then you're going to sort of sip the air in, and you're going to feel it coming up the body. So the rib cage will expand just slightly, and then on the exhale we'll come back again, and then you're going to sip it all the way up to the top. Think about your collarbone. This is where the breath is going to sort of land, and it's going to expand and rise, but try to keep your shoulders down, and it's going to get all the way to the top of the lung. So you're going to be filling up from the bottom to the top. So it's something that you will have to practice at home to get used to. I'm going to tell you that you may get a little dizzy by doing it, because you're taking in a lot more oxygen this way than you normally do when we're just breathing day to day. Conscious breathing practice brings a lot more oxygen into your body. So you may feel a little dizzy. That's like perfectly normal. You're going to take it slowly. I like to visualize. So you're going to be taking breath in through like the larynx. This is going to be like the power where the breath comes in. And you're going to hear it. It should be audible to you. And then let's think of ourselves as, say, like, you know, a tall glass of water. And we're going to be sipping in the air from this area right here, kind of from where you clear your throat. And then you're going to visualize the air dropping, you know, all the way into your abdomen. And then as you sip in a little bit more air, a little bit more air, you'll feel it rising up through the rib cage and then finally to the top. All right. And this is also so important because when you deep belly breathe, what you're doing is you're turning on your parasympathetic system. So this is the system of rest and digest. And where, as Peggy was talking about a little bit, you're stimulating the vagus nerve, which connects, runs from your brain to the gut. And what we're trying to do is train our systems to toggle very efficiently between your sympathetic system, which is the fight or flight, which is the system that so many of us are in, from, everybody's busy, lots of people have stress, and this sympathetic system is on quite a bit. But we want to be able to toggle between the two systems. And this kind of deep conscious breathing, it just kind of tones up that vagus nerve and it helps it to switch back and forth quicker and more efficiently. So, you are stressed, everything is going on around you, and then you're like, whoa, let me breathe for a minute. And you breathe and you kind of turn on the parasympathetic system. And the more you do it, the more efficient you're going to get between, being able to go between those two systems. It's a very, very handy tool to have at your disposal, wherever you are. That's where your breath is. So I'll show you one so you can sort of see it and see you can put your hands on your belly. So that sort of helps you also with the breath. All right, so let me see if you guys can see this. Oh, that calmed me down already. And I say, like, when the part I also love about this breath is when you get familiar with it. First, I would say you just want to kind of get familiar with breathing down to the belly and up. But then when you get good at it, you can start holding your breath at the top. And that's the place where I find magic, because when you hold your breath in between the inhale and the exhale, you also stop your thoughts. I mean, you stop your breath and the thoughts will kind of automatically stop in your head. So it's a very lovely, peaceful place to be. You're not like haunted by all those thoughts, repetitive thoughts that may keep looping. In that place, it's quiet and it's very nice. And on the exhale, what I like to do is kind of use the bandhas, they're called in yoga. So I sort of squeeze up on the pelvic floor, bring my belly back to my spine, and kind of think about exhale, like bringing the belly in and up. So I know that's like a ton of information, but I'm gonna set the clock for 2 minutes so you guys can all try this in the comfort of your
And
home.
Marla, we have said it is not easy. It takes a while. It's definitely a practice, but once you get it, it makes all the difference. And I think what happens is when you're nervous and anxious, you do, like you say, breathe shallowly. So
Yeah.
this is a very different way, and most of us do not breathe that way at all. And we're also not used to sticking our stomach out.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's like you have to get over the idea that your stomach is gonna, inflate out. I mean, mine does somewhat. I mean, I know, some people who are who've been doing it, I guess, a lot longer than I have. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how big their bellies get. It's pretty incredible, the flexibility there. And I'll say another thing, when you might not be doing it today, but I found when I first started, it's actually easiest when you lay down. I found that was a very relaxing way to do this deep belly breathing. And yeah, you can really feel your tummy expand like that. So let's give it a go. Let's try it. And I'll do a couple with you, and then I'll cue you a little. I'll watch the screen, and I'll give you some cues so you remember. All right, so I'm just gonna set this for like 2 minutes. And all right, so let's breathe. So in through the larynx. The power is coming from the larynx. All right, so breathing in, bring that breath right down to the belly. Feel the belly expand. Feel it go up through your ribs and all the way up to the top. And then exhale. Take your time. And on the inhale, when you're inhaling, keep sipping the air in. There's a little bit more there than you think. And then exhale, pull the belly into the spine. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Try to think of your belly expanding like a balloon. All right, and we'll come back. So you guys just did that for about 2.5 minutes.
Marla, how do you know if you're doing it right?
Well, you know how you're doing it right if you can, your belly, your hands will be on your belly, and you will feel your belly moving out. And the thing is, you're not, forcing it out with your muscles. You're letting the diaphragm do that work of pushing, pushing down and naturally, pushing the abdomen out. I mean, I really think you have to do it for a while to get the hang of it. But it definitely is a worthwhile practice. I usually do it in the morning for a minute, before I even get out of bed. I'll do this for a minute laying down, and I'll start my day with it. And it just in the right frame of mind. And you got one session in right there before you even start your day.
So is that why you suggest laying down? It's easier to do that while you're laying down.
I felt like it was easier for me when I first started to understand the breath while I was lying down.
Even though
Right.
your lungs are like flat, that your lungs are You know what I mean? When you lay down, how your lungs kind of not collapse, but they're flatter.
I mean, I think just because it was so unfamiliar, the idea of breathing down, I was like, what? When my teacher suggested it, I was like, breathe where? like I didn't even understand the concept.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it takes a while to get the hang of it, but there's definitely something to it.
And I was telling Marla, I've been taking a class with my regular yoga teacher. It's called it's mood boost yoga. It's yoga for people who are suffering from depression. And they do a lot of breath work. And I cannot believe how much it helps. And I also found out, I know this sounds crazy, I don't eat maybe as much because I'm not as stressed when I do that. I feel like having that air in you do fill yourself up with that air. But she did do some lying down once. And I did feel like I could feel it more. It is not, and it's very important when you talk about the vagus nerve. They call that the gut brain highway, which is very important for your whole gut. You know, everything that's coming out now with nutrition is all about the gut and gut health. So if you can get that working and you eat well and you're nice to everybody, all will be good.
Too bad the whole world couldn't do that.
Yeah. I know that's the only problem, but we could teach them a little. That's why we wanted to start.
Pass the word.
You have to start.
That's right. So thank you, everybody. Does anybody, I've muted a lot of you, so you can unmute now and talk. Sorry about that.
This was wonderful.
Thank
you.
Many thanks. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Any questions, you can reach out, you can ask now, or you could reach out to any of us.
Is there any video like for the breathing that Regina can send us or anything? You know, like the steps again?
Oh,
or online, even online.
I'll take a look and see. You know, I'm sure there's a couple of sources. We'll see if we can get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
How do we get the recipes?
Just email me, regina.ragone@gmail.com, and I'll send you the recipes. If you want the diet, anything, just ask me that you saw that you wanted more info on.
Thank you.
I love the relaxation one in the beginning too. So it is I copied down safe, healthy, happy, and ease.
Live with ease. I'll send that email out to everyone too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought it was really funny that, a lot of us have been in the house too long with other people. And even in your own home, you need to create this.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time, so we survived. It's getting better. Yes. We're going to be able to all get out soon and do whatever we used to do.
Yes, yes. But these tools you can have always. And that's what's so great. And I think the breathing thing is something, it's something that's kind of, I know it's been around, like you said, for hundreds of years, 2,000 years, but it's something new. And it's amazing how we don't breathe that way. And how when you do, you're like, oh, what a difference that makes.
It was great.
Practice. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your energy.
Every one of you. Thank you to my friends and my family. And shout out to Uncle Al, who God bless him, 90 years old, still teaching, still learning.
Wow, that is another key with the brain. Keep learning.
And my mom, actually, Uncle Al and my mom are 90 now. So, or actually, Uncle Al, are you 91? He's 91, and he's still learning. May we all turn out just like that.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful! Congratulations, and 100 more years.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all your patience and understanding and just your energy and being here. We really appreciate it. You are a really well-behaved group. A lot of teachers, right, Peggy? Well-behaved.
Thank you. Thank you,
all right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.